Hello, this is the King of all mediums, and I'd like to welcome you to podcast number 27. It's a beautiful day today, wasn't it? Well, not really in New York City. The last 3 days have been kind of, overcast, rainy, and very ugly. So, I've been depressed, not today. Today felt a lot better, I guess. It's coming to the weekend, so I'm feeling pretty good. So today's podcast, I'd like to do a short thing on rap music, a short rap about rap, in podcast number 27. Now, I know a lot about rap music because I grew up with it. I grew up in the North Bronx where rap music was basically invented. Okay, so a lot of you in the younger generation who didn't know about it, so basically I was 15 years old. 1980 was the year, and it's about the spring, I think. And all of a sudden, I heard this horrible music. I never heard something so bad. It sounded something from the jungle. Okay, I don't want to be offensive. I don't want to get canceled here, but that's what it's. I mean, the hip hop rap. To me, it's the same thing. Hip hop music, rap music is much better than it was. It was back then, and it was so horrible. I said, "What the hell was that?" I said, "The guy that can't be." And so the black kids would, have these big boom boxes, and I didn't know what it was. And they had this thing, I think, in where I live called the Zulu Nation, which I don't know what it was, but all I know is you would, as a white kid, you'd want to avoid them because I think they wanted to commit violence against white people. And I think in the music there was a lot of things that were expressed about white people. I do believe. I wasn't sure because I couldn't understand what the hell they were saying, but there was some though that was kind of fun. Like Curtis Blow had the song "Slam Dunk Y'all" to the Funk Y'all. Something I could not do with Slam Dunk being 5'9" and a white kid. So, in fact, Curtis Blow had a girlfriend. The girlfriend had an apartment. We used to hang out in the neighborhood. And he used to wave to us, a little short guy. He had these high heels, but a very nice guy, Curtis Blow. And he was one of the inventors of rap music, but not that kind of rap music. I don't know what see, he was more of a hip hop. I guess that's the difference. Had actually more of a bell melody and a beat. It was actually a little better. It was actually a little better than today's rap music. And you had Grandmaster Flash and the Furious Five, White Lines, Blow Away, and so who would know in 1980 or 81 that this music would actually become the dominant music in 2021? We have artists such as Nas or whatever the heck his name, and The Week, whatever. I mean, who knows? And Lil Wayne and I don't know what these guys. They all have fake names. Megan Thee Stallion, and what the hell. And so Rolling Stone magazine, which is not to be trusted, by the way, ever. Anything they ever say, said that Jay-Z is the 88th greatest artist of all time. Okay? Jay-Z, okay? So I did a little research on Jay-Z just to see maybe he was, maybe the most horrible stuff I've ever heard. He has 99 problems, but a bitch ain't one. This is, and I watch a big pimping. So he has some kind of yacht, and there's some slantily clad girls, and they got a beat going, and he's dancing around, and he's saying some. This is his best songs, by the way. This is the best artist, the 88th best artist of all time. And then they put what's this guy's name, with the Tupac Shakur and the Biggie Smalls in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay, so and groups like Jethro Tull, Grand Funk Railroad are not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. That's why this magazine cannot be trusted. And for some reason, everyone is like, God, and this man is the most amazing thing. Okay, this music is not music. It's horrible. It's most, And there's a reason for it, and I think you all know. I don't have to tell you why. I mean, if I tell you why, someone's going to call my employer and I'll be canceled. So I lose my job. And so I can't say why, but you know why. I don't have to tell you. I don't have to tell you why rap music and hip hop music are held in such high esteem by the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's not, first of all, it's not rock and roll, and it's not music, okay? It's the ear test. We don't have to argue like Brent Shapiro did about melody and harmony and the elements of music. We just know listening to it. It's garbage. It's junk. You know, we've listened to good music. I mean, it's horrible music they put out today, but you could say some of it's music. You know, I mean, Taylor Swift, maybe that's music, okay, but this is not music, people. Okay. Pop Smoke is not music. The dead guy, okay? People that get shot in the regular course of their lives are not musicians. These are gangsters write horrible stuff. It's the most pathetic thing. Who are they going to put Pop Smoke in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? Well, he got shot. You know, he has some legitimacy. You know, that's the legitimacy as a rapper. You get shot, okay? And maybe you die. That makes you even bigger. I mean, it's the most pathetic thing I've ever heard. And this Rolling Stone magazine in there, rock and roll Jan Wenner, who invented Rolling Stone magazine, and he runs the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, is the most pathetic individual. I think he, first of all, he was married, and then he decided to become a homosexual. I mean, how do you do that? You know? I mean, I'm not homophobic, by the way. I think everyone should, you know, be the way they should be. You know, if you're gay, you should be gay. But how do you all of a sudden decide, well, you know, I like men better now, and I'm going to leave my wife and my kids? And what a pathetic dude, man. And he runs this thing, and he's telling us that Jay-Z is doing rock and roll. So he's going to get in, by the way, this year. He was nominated. Steppenwolf's on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. They were nominated, however. You know, Steppenwolf, who brought you some unbelievably great songs. You know, great musicians, especially live. You know, I don't know if you ever heard Steppenwolf live, especially the classic band. Some of them are dead now, but you know, it's just amazing. You know, it's true. There's no one good anymore. I mean, who's good? You know, I mean. You know, it's pathetic, some of these groups around, but I mean, Fall Out Boy, I don't know. I mean, to tell you the truth, I haven't heard them, you know, Radiohead, I really haven't heard them. You know, I heard one song, Carmen Please, it's okay, you know, I mean, compare it to Grand Funk Railroad, the history, you know, the Grand Funk Railroad, I could give you 20 great songs by them. Carmen Police, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. I heard a few other songs by Radiohead. Man. So, you know, and you know why around music. You know why. I can't tell you why. I'd like to tell you why. I'd like to tell you why right now. You know, I'd like to tell you why that it's so highly esteemed by Jan Wenner in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and why Jay-Z is going to get in this year, because he is going to get in. And I'd like to tell you why. But I can't, because I'll be canceled. You know? Okay, one more note. As you see, what I'm wearing tonight is the Metallica shirt. Now, I've been a big critic of Metallica. Now, when I lost all my possessions, I needed to buy some shirts. And one of the first shirts, I went to Target. I was looking some classic rock shirts. Of course, they didn't have any. And one they did have was Metallica. So I said, what the hell, I'll buy a Metallica shirt. And so anyone had tweeted Metallica, all these Metallica fans, I know I follow around Metallica. And my theory is Metallica's not that good, you know, way overrated. So I always would put in the post, retweet, overrated. So well, I just had to get sick of them, and they, you know, unfollowed these Metallica fans. But I did decide, let me give Metallica a fair deal. I just ordered up Master of Puppets today, supposedly their best album. You know, my theory with Metallica is the people listening to them, or what do you call that, Generation X, people born after 1981, who really didn't have good music to listen to. And this is the best of a bad lot, okay? And you know, they also heard Nirvana. Nirvana was probably a little better. You know, they had some, you know, pretty good songs, two really good albums. I thought. Actually, kind of spotty the second album. You know, both albums were actually, they had like 5 or 6 good songs, and after they put a lot of shit to fill it up. Nirvana. So I want to hear their best album. So I got Master of Puppets on coming in. Okay, so that's my opening rap about rap music. Okay, so again, I'd like to tell you why rap and hip hop music is so highly esteemed, but I can't tell you because I'd get canceled, and unfortunately, there's no one there to help me out. I don't have I don't have a trust fund or anything like that, so I can't tell you, but you know why. Okay, all right. So let's go to the finds. Okay, so let's go to this album, and this is Buffalo Springfield again, their second album. Now, their first album I went over, I think yesterday. Maybe yesterday. No, Tuesday. Okay, so this is their second album. Their first album was good, a good album, 3 stars. This album was much better. Now, the first album has their big hit For What It's Worth, but this album is great, great album, 5-star, a must-have. And go over some of the tracks. Mr. Soul, great song. The only thing about Mr. Soul is it sounds a little bit like Satisfaction by the Rolling Stones. But otherwise, if it did sound like Satisfaction, great song. Child's Claim to Fame is a song by Rich Fury. It's a pretty good song. Every Day is by Stephen Stills, good song. Expecting to Fly, unbelievably good song. Expecting to Fly is an incredible Neil Young, and Neil Young is known more for his like acoustic and jam type song. This is a more heavy production song with a lot of synthesizers, and not synthesizers, but more. Back then, it had synthesizers, more violins and like an orchestra. It's an amazing song. So that's Expecting to Fly by Neil Young. The 5th song is Bluebird. Great song, and this is before Blackbird. Remember, this is I do believe this. Maybe not. I don't. I have to look up the timeline. Listening to My Bluebird. Great song. Hung Upside Down, I think, is a song by Stephen Stills. That's a little meh. Sad Memory, Rich Fury, little fella there. Good Time Boy, I do believe, is a Neil Young. That's a little mess. They have a couple of 3 of them. They're meh. Now, number 9 is a great song. Rock and Roll Woman. Do 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 do. Come on, sing along with me. Do 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 do. There's a woman. Great. Oh, such a great song. Rock and Roll Woman. You could just do an acapella of that. Do 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 do. See, this is a song you could actually hum. There's some songs you can't hum. It's like I'm Your Captain, you can't hum that song. It's like, do 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 do. There's a woman. Do 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 do. Great song, and it ends with another Neil Young masterpiece, Broken Arrow, which is very similar to Expecting to Fly. And this is a terrific album. I mean, the great songs, Mr. Soul, Expecting to Fly, Bluebird, Rock and Roll, and A Broken Arrow. And the other songs are pretty good too. Child's Claim of Fame, Every Days. The other 3 are okay. They're not great, but there's just a couple of good songs too with it. So you must get this album. Get it on, MP3. If you're nature, you can go to your streaming. But I would get it and get it on CD because I'm telling you, CDs sound much better than vinyl. I'm the king of all. You're hearing it. Oh my God, it's getting vinyl, and I don't know. These people are telling me about vinyl. They're just wrong. Okay. Now. Okay, so I wanted to get more reel-to-reels, and one of the movies, when I was young that I saw, I was probably about 14, 15 years old, saw on TV late night with my brothers, so I must have been a Friday night, was Easy Rider. two guys on their motorcycle riding across America from Los Angeles to Miami, I would gather, and they had a purpose. And the purpose was to deliver drugs from a drug deal, and that drug was cocaine. And the cocaine, by the way, it might seem like I'm on cocaine tonight, but I'm not. I just got some sniffles. And that cocaine they put in their gas tank, and I don't know, that wasn't the big part of the plot, but that was why they had to take a ride across America. Phil Spector was the dealer that gave them the cocaine. Right? And I won't tell you the ending, but it doesn't end well for our two protagonists, who are Dennis Hopper and Peter Fonda. And also in these festivities are Jack Nicholson. Okay, so Jack Nicholson has a great role in this movie. It's a great movie. You know, I think I'm going to acquire it, hopefully on Blu-ray. But the soundtrack was very good. It's a great soundtrack. So I saw this on, I went to, what's the name, Discogs, which is a great site. And it was rather expensive, but I was able to acquire it. Okay, the soundtrack begins with two Steppenwolf songs. The Pusher, great song, and they do a really nice version. It sounds really nice on this too. Very nice analog sound. Nice, beautiful. Like analog does have some nice stuff. That there's a real sound to it. Sometimes you see what it is the new digital. See, if you get old analogs onto CDs, it does sound good. AADs, analog recording, analog mastering, and digital playback. But if you get AAA too, it sounds real. This is an AAA. It sounds really good. The Pusher, which was written by Hoyt Axton, that name comes up again. Steppenwolf, and then comes after it, Born to Be Wild. Steppenwolf, and I'm not going to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, but you know who is? Jay-Z. It's so laughable. The Weight. Now, for some reason, I think it was some kind of squabble. I guess the band didn't get enough money. So instead, a group called Smith, not the Smiths, Meat is Murder Smiths, but their version was put on. I remember my older brother bought their album because they have a hot chicken. My younger brothers used to tease him about that. Wasn't Born to Follow by the Byrds. And by the way, all these songs are great. Okay, when Jack Nicholson, the scene where he starts riding with them, and what happens is he needs a helmet, so he puts on a football helmet, and when he starts riding, they finish that scene, they play this song, If You Want to Be a Bird, by the Holy Modal Rounders, okay? So they play that song, which is, it's a novelty type song, it's not really a rock song. It says, the name of the song is actually Don't Bogart That Joint, but it says Don't Bogart Me by the Fraternity of Man, okay? Next up is the Jimi Hendrix Experience, If 6 Was 9. That's nice, okay? Now, the Electric Prunes follow with Kyrie Eleison, which is interesting, and you don't hear the Electric Prunes much. Psychedelic type band. Then Roger McGuinn, solo, follows that with It's Alright Mama, I'm Only Bleeding. Bob Dylan's song that he covers, great song, he does a great version of it. And the song ends with the Ballad of the Easy Rider. It's actually a Ballad of Easy Rider, and that ends the film. Now, it's an interesting story behind this. So Roger McGuinn volunteered to write the song. So they said to him, I guess it was Dennis Hopper said, listen, Roger, could you write the end of the song? So he was getting a little writer's block. So, he went to Bob Dylan. He says, listen, can you write a song for me? He says, well, I'll write a poem for you. He knew the plot. Bob Dylan, I'll write the poem, but you're going to have to write the music. So he gave him, the lyrics. And he says, but this is not the song, it's just a poem. Because Bob Dylan says, you'll do all right. And he did. He wrote a beautiful, you'll cry if you haven't heard it. You'll cry. It's such a beautiful song. Ballad of Easy Rider. The only bit, now the tape was excellent sounding until that song. I'm so upset. The tape was excellent, but for some reason, when it came to the ballad of, it's actually Ballad of the, I think it's Ballad of the Easy Rider, when it came to that song, it actually wasn't good anymore. So the whole thing was great until that song. Okay, now, let's see. Okay, so 2 more items and we'll close out today. Very short podcast for me. Okay, so, now, there's a lot of fans of Rush on Twitter. Now, for some reason, they think Rush is the greatest thing since sliced bread. Now, I've heard a lot of music, and so I think I'm uniquely qualified to judge Rush. And so I went out and I purchased 3 albums. Now I purchased 3 albums on eBay. I have 2 of them, so I made an investment to hear Rush and to uniquely judge them. Okay, so the first album, so 2 actually came to name, there's 1 more coming, is Moving Pictures. Okay, Moving Pictures. Now, the pros. Okay, the sound of the CD is incredible. I've never heard sound so good. I mean, unbelievable. It's that good. I mean, maybe that's why people like it, because I can't figure out why else. This is the most incredible sounding piece of music in terms of fidelity I've ever heard. I don't think anything's ever come close. I mean, you could hear the drums, Neil Peart's drums. It's like they're there. It's just amazing. It's the bass and the guitar. I mean, incredible job of what years. I gotta look at what years this was. Moving Pictures. I mean, I'd like to just hear this again for the sound. Now, in terms of musicianship, obviously, they are great musicians. But I was not impressed by the songwriting. I mean, to me, everything's the songs. What are the songs? How do they sound? What are the lyrics are crappy. I mean, when Tom Sawyer, he gets high on you. I mean, the only song that kind of stood out was Tom Sawyer. This Red Barchetta YYZ Limelight. I guess that's a big hit. Cameron Eye, Which Had Vital Signs. I didn't really find their songs that good. I mean, I would definitely take a listen to the sound quality. It's just so damn good. So maybe that's why people like them. So the CD was unbelievably sounded unbelievable. I mean, so good. I just cannot. I was in shock how good the CD sounded. I mean, it just makes other CDs just, you don't want to listen to them. I want to listen to this again. Just the sound was just so good. Okay. Now, I'm getting, I forget which album I'm getting on vinyl. I'm getting the other one. But unfortunately, I got this one, but I got it on cassette. So I said, let me get one on vinyl and one on vinyl, one on compact disc, and one on cassette. And unfortunately, I don't know if this format's going to last because I love music, but compact disc people, so much better. I don't know what people see in vinyl. I mean, the thing about vinyl is, I mean, I put on a Revolver on it sounded good, but it's very low. You know, the vinyl is low because you got to boost it a little. You got the amp has to be the amp or your receiver. You have to push it up a little to get the sound up. You put on a CD, there's a lot of sound already, and the track, it's already boosted. So it's weird, I don't know why that is so. Maybe an audiophile out there. I'm sure there's a lot of people that know. By the way, Rush should come back. They don't need that Neil Peart. I mean, you know how many great drummers there are that can drum like that? Today there's thousands. It's probably 100,000. No, 100,000. But all these guys, they probably work as probably like accountants and it's amazing how many people are good musicians. Now, the second album was Permanent Waves, and so that's the second one. I got one more on vinyl. I don't remember the name of it. This one didn't sound good. It's probably because it was cassette. Maybe it was old, so kind of. I mean, but I wanted to get a cassette because, and I got a vinyl coming, so that should be interesting how that sounds compared to. Then also, I want to do an experiment. I got the Revolver from the Beatles on vinyl. I want to get it on CD too because I just want to hear how it sounds. Maybe I'll get on reel to reel, but I'll go bankrupt. Okay, so let's see what on the Spirit of the Radio. What I mean by horrible lyrics. Invisible Waves, I don't know. Free Will is a good song. Okay, the first two songs I like. But the rest of the album's not that good. Jacob's Ladder, meh. Entry No. Different Strings, Natural Signs. So, again, musicianship is great. The sound on the cassette, but I think it's an old cassette. I think that's what it is. This guy actually bought it in 1980, so the sound quality, maybe it's not the cassette. The guy bought it in 1980. It just sounds like crap, It's he left it out, and he finally found the case. Hey, let me sell it now. It's 2021, 41 years later. I'll sell the damn thing. Some sucker. I'm the sucker. So, boy, I like cassette. This is the second. I mean, all the cassettes I've gotten so far have sounded great, except for two. This and The Best of Bread. This cassette did not sound good at all. It sounded very weak. Did not have all the cassettes though I bought have sounded really good. Surprisingly, I thought that was going to be the weakness of cassettes. They didn't sound good. All of them so far I played have sounded good, except for this one. Okay. That's a wrap tonight, and thank you for stopping along. So let's see what's the rest of the week. Tomorrow is cassette night. It looks like Styx Grand Illusion is going to be played. Although I really wanted to play. I really, really wanted to play John Fogerty Center Field, but it looks like that's going to have to wait. Maybe we'll have next week on Thursday nights, my miscellaneous night, I'll have a springtime songs. I have two. And then on Saturday, we're back to LPs. And Saturday and Sunday, we're back to LP night days. So everyone loves LPs. And all right, so today was, March 18th, 2021. I thank you for joining me. And again, comment. I love comments. No one's commenting. I get views, Maybe people turn me on and they say, "Oh, this guy's a bore," Hey. I don't know what it is. These people turn me on, but they don't finish the podcast. The best part of the podcast is, I think, my conversations. I think I'm going to put that first from now on, and maybe that'll improve the podcast. Okay, so thank you, and have a great day.